room. So what do you think, or do you feel like people sometimes just like overlook your leadership specifically and your impact on the team from like a chemistry standpoint, because there's just so many narratives? So like, do you think people are overlooking that?
She made the all-W first team. I don't think anyone's overlooking what Kelsey Mitchell did this year. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think anyone is.
Alright, this is crazy. Kelsey Mitchell just appeared on Sue Bird's podcast and practically confirmed what everyone's been quietly discussing behind the scenes. And get this, she didn't just mention what it's like playing alongside Caitlin Clark. She admitted she had to meet with the Fever organization because things weren't functioning the way they should have been. But here's the twist. What she said about Caitlin is where it all gets messy. When you actually listen to her words, it becomes clear there's a major issue growing in Indiana that no one wants to acknowledge. And by the end of this breakdown, you'll see exactly why this could either make or completely break the entire franchise.
Because there's just so many narratives. So like, do you think people are overlooking that?
I think that in a short, yeah. I think naturally, yes, because of the society, the social media, and how bad, people take to social media and abuse it in the wrong realm of light. And so I think that's one part of it. But I also think that it was an adjustment period. And I talked to, the Fever organization about this. It's like, I think it was an adjustment period that, we all should have adjusted to throughout the course of the organization.
Did you catch that part about role-playing that had to be situated? That's basically corporate language for, we had no clue what we were doing. The Fever knew for 5 months they were getting the biggest star in women's basketball history, and still weren't ready. Let that sink in for a second. 5 months to prepare, and Kelsey's sitting there explaining how players, coaches, and staff had to scramble to figure out roles once Caitlin arrived. But here's the thing, most people are overlooking. Kelsey isn't only talking about logistics. She's hinting at something much deeper. Pay close attention to how carefully she phrases what comes next, because this is where the real tension starts to surface.
That, we all should have adjusted to throughout the course of the organization.
That actually sounds like she said she had to talk to the organization about it. So I would say, like, they did not prepare for Caitlin Clark. From an organizational level, they didn't prepare for Caitlin Clark. They knew they were getting Caitlin Clark for literally 5 months before a draft.
She never was bigger than a program. A lot of people heard that as a compliment, but let's unpack what that actually means. When someone says a superstar wasn't trying to take over, what they're really suggesting is that the player didn't assert themselves when they should have. Think about every dominant dynasty in basketball history. Jordan never worried about being bigger than the Bulls. LeBron had no hesitation taking over in Miami. Kobe demanded the Lakers build around him. That's not arrogance. That's leadership. And what Kelsey unintentionally revealed is that Caitlin came in trying to adapt to their system instead of making them adapt to hers. It sounds admirable, right? But here's the problem no one wants to admit.
Basically saying Caitlin was soft. Basically, she never put her foot down and tried to override. That's what I'm thinking she going into, but I could be wrong.
It wasn't, I don't know how to explain that. You know what I'm trying to say though?
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say. It's like, she knows who she is. She comes in, she's gonna obviously do her part because that's what being a professional athlete is. But with the understanding of fitting into a team, making sure we fit, making sure we have chemistry. So it's never bigger than like the group
it's like
itself.
She wasn't trying to be bigger than everybody. Like within our locker room, she wasn't trying to be big.
She should have been, bruh. She should have been.
Bigger than anyone else. And
Hold up. Did she just call Caitlin soft? Because that's pretty much what just happened. Saying she wasn't trying to be bigger than everyone isn't praise when you're describing a generational player. It's criticism dressed up as respect. You can hear it in the way Kelsey keeps stressing that Caitlin blended into the team and understood chemistry. Translation: she didn't demand the ball, didn't force the offense to revolve around her, and played nice instead of taking command. Now compare that to what we saw after the Olympic break. Once Caitlin and Kelsey finally clicked, they were unstoppable. The Fever were scoring over 100 points per game. Kelsey was putting up 24 a night. Caitlin was dropping 20 points and dishing 12 assists. They looked like one of the best backcourts in WNBA history. So what changed?
But like, it wasn't like she wasn't trying to take over. It wasn't, I don't know how to explain that. You know what I'm trying to say though?
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say. It's like she knows who she is. She comes in. She's going to obviously do her part because that's what being a professional athlete is. But with the understanding of fitting into a team, making sure we fit, making sure we have chemistry. So it's never bigger than like the group
it's like
itself.
she wasn't trying to be bigger than everybody. Like,
See, because she know Caitlyn is comfortable with who she is. She knows she the biggest thing moving and smoking. Like, she don't have to come be arrogant. She's not an arrogant person. So she's not gonna be that way with you guys. But y'all need to play y'all.
And there it is. She kept the program. The program. You notice that? Kelsey keeps repeating that word. Program. Not team, not family, program. Like Caitlyn was joining some already established structure she needed to respect. Except the Fever were awful before Caitlyn got there. They hadn't made the playoffs in years. Kelsey had been on the roster for 7 seasons without advancing past the first round. So what program was Caitlyn supposed to be protecting? This is classic veteran player psychology, feeling threatened but framing it as humility. They present deference as virtue, when what they really want is for the new star to know their place. And Caitlyn, being the ultimate teammate, actually went along with it. She passed, facilitated, and elevated everyone around her instead of demanding they elevate her. Which leads us to the huge unspoken issue tearing this duo apart before it even reaches its true potential.
I don't know if that makes sense, but like,
No, it very much makes sense. And you know what? Like, she wasn't even asked about Caitlin Clark. And like, there's no matter what, I mean this when I say this. No matter what happens, even if I don't think Kelsey Mitchell wants to leave. It's gonna take, these two have had 10 games together in a system where they were able to run, both of them were able to play, and they were both healthy. They have had 10.
Notice what just happened? Kelsey praised Caitlyn for keeping her energy up when she didn't play and when injuries hit. But think about why that even needed to be said. The subtext is brutal. Caitlyn had to prove she could stay engaged even when she wasn't the focal point. Even when the offense didn't run through her. Even when Kelsey was forcing tough shots instead of passing. And Caitlyn proved herself, earning Kelsey's respect. But here's the deeper issue. Stephanie White came in and made it clear that Kelsey Mitchell was her #1 focus. Not the generational star who transformed the entire league. Not the player selling out every stadium and bringing millions of new fans. Instead, she prioritized the veteran who's been solid but never elite. That choice has created a growing divide that's about to boil over.
Assert her power too much, and you got to respect that. But now we have gotten to a point, truthfully, Kelsey, and I rock with Kelsey. Kelsey's a killer. You know what I mean? Obviously, we got a little crazy with Kelsey because there was a certain point in time, beginning of the season last year, she wasn't passing, but post-Olympic break, she was great. We got on her once her sister started making comments online and doing all that. She was doing too much. You got her under control. Cool. But I think now we are at a point where Caitlyn does need to start doing some of the things you said she don't do, like asserting her power. She needs to start taking.
You're like my little sister. Did you catch that tone shift? That's not just affection. That's hierarchy. Big sister, little sister. Veteran, rookie. The established player versus the one who still has to learn. But Caitlyn isn't your typical rookie. She's the most accomplished player to ever enter the WNBA. She shattered nearly every significant college basketball record. She's already more skilled than Kelsey will ever be, and everyone knows it. Yet the Fever's entire system seems built around pretending otherwise. This is what dysfunction looks like at an organizational level. When a once-in-a-generation player walks through your door, you don't ask them to adapt. You rebuild everything around them. Golden State didn't make Steph Curry fit into Mark Jackson's scheme. They hired Steve Kerr and revolutionized the game. The Lakers didn't tell Kobe to defer to the old guard. They moved on from Shaq and handed him the keys. But the Fever, they're trying to do both, and it's not working. I'm really not feeling this.
Feeling this.
you're talking about a kid in the candy store, that's Caitlyn.
Yep.
Tutu, she is, but in a good way. She's a live light. And she her personality shows in her game, and it's dope for her.
Guys,
Now
in your
going
locker
back to what I was saying in the beginning, man, with the media, and Kelsey Mitchell be sneak dissing, bro. That was kind of a sneak diss because you would think she basically letting us know, like you would think Caitlin Clark is not bigger than the system. Caitlin Clark just come in and play her role. Caitlin Clark need to go there and be the LeBron, be Michael Jordan, be Kobe, aggressive, give me the ball. She's claiming basically so many words. Caitlin ain't doing.
Now, here's where things truly get complicated. Because Kelsey isn't wrong about everything. She's completely right that Caitlin needs to take charge more often. But the question is why she hasn't. And it's not because she's weak or inexperienced. It's because she's stuck in an impossible setup. Look at how this season played out. Caitlin pushed through injuries almost the entire year. She was hurt from day one, but kept going because the team relied on her. Meanwhile, Stephanie White kept running an offense that didn't highlight Caitlin's strengths. Kelsey was taking the shots that should have been Caitlin's. The whole structure catered to Kelsey's comfort instead of unlocking Caitlin's dominance. And when Caitlin tried to assert herself, critics called her selfish. When she backed off, they labeled her soft. It's a lose-lose situation built to protect egos. Everyone's except the one player who actually matters.
Because she likes to, like, you know, talk about
She plays a
basketball
lot.
and kind of troll a little
Oh,
bit.
my
Yeah,
goodness.
exactly.
You talk about a kid in the candy store, that's Caitlin.
Yep.
Tutu, she is, but in a good way. She's a live light. And she her personality shows in her game, and it's dope for her.
And like that's one of the things you can see. These two players, no matter what you think about them, and look, I will question the fit. I'm going to question the fit. I'm going to question the way the